Hey guys, it's Sam, and welcome back to Likewise Pod. It's the second week of Notes App November. That's our theme. It's so fun and so fitting for today because I have the wildest story to start this mini-sode off. I woke up today. I'm already recording a little late. My episode was supposed to go up yesterday, but we persevere. And it's Sunday, and so it's grocery shopping day for me, and one thing I lean on my notes app for the most is my weekly dinner shopping list. I have like a little table built in there for every day. I have a whole system for how we shop for our groceries and plan out our meals. And we go to open it to just be productive, start our meal planning because we're planning to go to the store. And I open my notes app and everything's gone. Everything. And I was like, what? This can't be right. Maybe I'm in the wrong place. So I like open and close it multiple times. I go in and out of these little tabs, and it's just like, nope, notes on this phone, zero. And I was like, okay, that's odd. And I was like, I'm worried, but not that worried. Like, yeah, it sucks to lose everything, but anything important that was in my notes, I do know where I have other places I could find them and put them back in my notes. So it's totally okay if they're gone. Totally fine. But a piece of me was freaking out for sure. But I was like, you know what? I've opened all my notes on my Mac before, so they're probably on my computer. They're just gone from my phone because I'm really out of storage. And so I go to my like iCloud settings and I start deleting things that are taking up space in my iCloud. I never use Apple Pages. I never use Keynote. I never use iMovie on my phone. Or Clips. I was like, what the heck even is Clips? So I'm just like, okay, whatever. So I just delete all these things from my iCloud, and they're taking up barely any space, but it was enough to free up the room again. And by the time I got to the grocery store, my phone was loading all my notes back from iCloud. And I was like, that was so rude, but also like I kind of needed iCloud to pull that prank on me and just like take my notes away and make me think they were gone forever for me to go through and free up some space. So then I went through and I was deleting some old screenshots. I had the most unnecessary stuff from like 2 years ago, like fairy schedules and random like all those little engine things that make like your Spotify like weekly things or like what would my Wrapped be right now if I did it, like all those little music things, screenshots of them all over the place. So I deleted so many of those. I went through all my different other like categories of stuff in my camera roll. I went to like anything I have in portrait mode and deleted things. Like I had a lot of pictures that were like five of the same exact picture, so I just deleted a bunch of extras. Did that for like 20 minutes, and then I was like, that's enough for now. At least my notes are back and I can continue. But that is so the reality of being a Notes app girl. Like having such full storage on your phone, your iCloud, and your Notes app being taken away, and that's your final straw. Like, and I posted it on our close friend story, and a couple people were like, "Oh my God, no way." Um, and yeah, I'm so glad people were freaking out just as much as me and were like shocked. And I just, yeah, I'm so glad I got that piece of me back. And now we are back to regularly scheduled programming. And today's mini-sode is something I've actually had noted out for a long time. And we may have brought some of this into another full up at one point, but I have no clue. And I think this is the perfect mini-sode for Notes App November because I'm here to declare that Notes App girls are people pleasers. You listen, I don't make the rules, I just follow them, and I think that's correct. Um, and that's just the rule. If you are a Notes App girl, you are totally a people pleaser, or if you are a people pleaser, you are a Notes App girl. It's just there's something related there, and I'm gonna roll with it. So today I'm going to talk a little bit more about people pleasing. We're going to get into a little bit of a list of things that are different between what's really happening internally when you're a people pleaser and what is presenting externally. So people pleasing the outside versus the inside and everything about that. Might try to get a little bit into how to start overcoming people pleasing tendencies, but um, I don't have much advice there. But I have, things that you should do that are really hard. So I don't have good advice on how to implement because I'm so bad and have not figured it out myself, but I can at least try to say what I know. Um, and then a long time ago, I was looking on some Instagram post about people pleasing. Maybe it was something similar like this, like inside versus outside. And I just grabbed some stuff out of the comments on that post that people were saying that I thought were kind of just some good nuggets of wisdom. And it's funny now, it's probably like a year since I planned out these notes, and I have no clue what the post was, and I don't think I even have it saved anywhere. I just wrote this down, so I'm not trying to take credit for everybody in the comments, their wisdom, but no clue who they were. So let's just get right into it. I think we should start with the outside. So if you're a people pleaser, um, a lot of people might not recognize it or think that you are a big people pleaser. They might just think that you are like the best person ever. Especially if a lot of your people pleasing is happening at work, your coworkers and the people you like see every day and who just get to know your work ethic, they might see you as somebody who is just very reliable. You might seem like you're super motivated and productive and also really organized sometimes is like super common. I feel like people will just think that you're just like the most organized, helpful person ever, that they can always lean on you. They could ask you questions. You're always going to have the answers. You might be also perceived as being very loyal and polite or just having this really great work ethic. And also just being caring and attentive and understanding. Those are like the biggest words that really stick out. Um, because when you're a people pleaser, you're probably saying yes to being asked to help with different projects, or anytime someone asks if you have time to help, you're saying yes. So you're just really building this reputation of being very helpful and motivated and organized because you put your head down and work. You always do what's best for the team. You're seen as a team player, and nobody would probably ever think that you're selfish, but there are people who just have great boundaries and say no, and they don't load up their plate too full or whatever, and they're good at prioritizing their own needs in the workplace. They could be seen as not as much of a team player, being a little more selfish. Selfish is not the right word, but you know what I mean. But it's just really hard, I think, to break free from people-pleasing tendencies when on the outside you're being perceived so positively, and usually the solution is to be better at drawing boundaries, but there could be fear that if you start saying no to projects, you won't keep getting them offered to you, or if I start rejecting projects or not helping as much, am I going to get a promotion or a raise? There's just all these things that I think encourage you to keep being a people pleaser. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be a team player and helpful and all these things, but a lot of the time people really encourage and enable some bad people pleasing behaviors because they seem so positive, um, if that makes sense. I just think about myself. Like I'm just always jumping in and helping and doing all these things. Um, and in the past, I had a really hard time with just like maybe carrying a little too much weight for certain things that I should not have been doing, but I just wanted to be helpful and all these things. And, get some praise here and there, just like, wow, you're so helpful, or here's this thank you note or whatever. But sometimes it's not enough or whatever. And you can easily get taken advantage of when you're always offering up your help and not and seeing the result from it. And sometimes other people are getting the praise and the results from the things you were doing that you didn't have to be doing. So, enough of what it looks like on the outside and getting to the really fun stuff of what it's like on the inside. So, I think a lot of the things that um, are what you'd be feeling inside as a people pleaser are maybe a little bit of why. So this list, I'll try to kind of separate it out. So if you're in a period of time where you feel like you have low self-worth or you kind of have a negative self-image and you're seeking validation, those are all kind of things that I think push you to be very much a people pleaser. But then when you are deep in being a people pleaser, a lot of time you just get a lot more self-critical in the things you could and should be doing. You might start to feel lost because maybe you're helping so many other people but not helping yourself. Your priorities kind of shift to helping other people more than yourself. So then you also might feel disconnected from yourself and your purpose because you've made your purpose being helpful. Um, Definitely you will have a lack of boundaries. That's just like classic trait of a people pleaser. You might be more anxious because you're maybe worried about how you're being perceived by other people. You are likely to get very burnt out because, like I said, you're always prioritizing other people's needs and not your own, or you're just loading up your plate, like being a busybody, for example, I think is another trait of a people pleaser. A lot of people pleasers might not be so quick to admit that they're a people pleaser. I think a lot more people are now, but a lot of people are just like, no, I'm just a busybody. Okay, yeah, but why? Um, and when you are just constantly filling your schedule and not allowing yourself time to rest, you will get burnt out. And then a lot of the time, it feels lonely because you start to wonder, like, why am I the only person always stepping up? Or why am I carrying all the weight? Why is nobody else doing this for me, but I do this for everyone? Which leads me to the last point of what people pleasing feels like on the inside. You build up so much resentment. You feel so resentful in certain situations. Like I just said, like, why am I the one who's constantly stepping up and doing this for everyone when nobody does this for me? And sometimes you can kind of justify it and just think, well, that speaks so much of my character. Yeah, but it shouldn't always be that way. And especially in situations where you really don't need to be doing everything for everyone all the time, just for them to perceive you as nice and helpful and give you a good recommendation later or something. A lot of the time, the things you could gain from being a people pleaser are not outweighing the things that it takes away from you. Ooh, yeah, let me say that again. The things you can gain from being a people pleaser in terms of your perception and your reputation do not outweigh the things it takes away from you in terms of your time, your mental health, and your just resiliency or your like ability to like bounce back and be healthy and active and all these things. It just That's just how it's always going to be. The things you're going to gain are never going to outweigh the things it takes away from you. So that being said, what are some things that we should be doing to overcome our people-pleasing tendencies? The age-old question, the thing I really don't have answers for, but it all comes down to learning how to say no and setting boundaries. And sometimes I feel like it does happen naturally in some situations. I feel like for me, I have a really easy time saying no to social settings, but I don't have an easy time saying no to work settings. So, say coworkers are asking to hang out outside of work or all this stuff, or just like, hey, want to go get drinks, all this stuff, and I'm very much just like, no, sorry, can't. I need to make dinner. Like I have a routine. When it comes to that routine outside of work getting interrupted, I'm usually quick to say no. I used to not be, but now I really am, and I think it's because I've also made myself very busy in my life. Um, and I'm lucky that I have people who are very understanding of that. So those boundaries I've gotten a lot better at. But then boundaries within work, like within teams, are always so hard because it's that thing of, oh, I don't want to say no. And then, I really want to be able to help my team and I want our projects to do well. And I don't want me saying no to be the thing that, makes it not work out. Um, or I don't want my boss to think that if I keep saying no to helping this on this project that I don't deserve a raise when the time comes or whatever. So it's really hard, and I think it's easier in some settings versus others. Maybe some people have an easy time saying no to things at work, but have a hard time saying no in social settings. So it's really just like whichever one, whatever setting you think you need to work on setting boundaries in, definitely start practicing those. I don't have good recommendations for setting boundaries besides identify your routine, maybe figure out what's important to you, in terms of work-life balance, and communicate your needs to the people around you. And it's very hard to do that. But at the end of the day, it creates a very healthy environment when your needs are known and understood and respected. And when you know, understand, and respect the needs of the people around you as well. I think there's probably a bajillion other podcasts or books or maybe things you could learn if you're in therapy or anything. You can definitely learn a lot on how to overcome some of these tendencies, ways to set healthy boundaries. Um, I'm not the queen of healthy boundaries, so I would definitely recommend looking elsewhere for that. But we are in this together. We are in this together fighting and trying to learn how to set healthy boundaries. So, our last little segment, like I mentioned, is just some of those things I saw people saying in comments of an Instagram post forever ago that I wrote down. And so, the first thing someone said, when you start respecting and loving yourself, there is no need for external approval from others, which is so true. Just that like self-critical trait and having this need to seek validation to help improve your self-image um, is something that usually like you are people pleasing to find that from someone else versus finding that love and respect for yourself and your perception of yourself from the inside. Definitely do things for you, not for the approval of others. Okay, next. Finding a healthy balance between caring for yourself and others is the key to happiness. So true. There's been so much more talk again recently of kind of like stopping being a people pleaser or doing everything for everyone and not taking care of yourself. Like a lot of people on TikTok I saw were saying, you need to put your oxygen mask on first before helping others, which, yes, true. But I think there could be a healthy balance between helping yourself and helping others, even though it's so hard to find. And I'm someone who, like, I'm an Enneagram 2, type 2, the helper. I'm very much do not take care of myself, and I love to help other people. So I'm not someone who's good at this. But sometimes when you get so burnt out and resentful from always prioritizing other people and feeling like you're not being prioritized, you want to just like throw it all away and you want to stop helping other people and you want to just be like, nope, it's time to prioritize me. Nobody else matters. Let me just do all this stuff for myself. I'm tired of doing everything for everyone. Like, it's so easy when you get to that place of being so burnt out and so resentful to just be like, nope, it's all about me now. No more doing everything for everyone. And that is great too. Like, that's fine. But I think to be truly happy, you have to be doing both. Like, you need to both take care of yourself and take care of others. And that's how we're going to have healthy relationships and be building this happiness and all these things and enjoying life. I really feel like that, like putting on my own oxygen mask thing, it fits really well in some situations. Like I think like in breakups and things like that's such a sometimes it's a great mindset and it's a very healing mindset for people who have spent so long not prioritizing themselves and taking care of themselves. But I think it's not the like 100% lasting solution, and there does need to be a healthy balance between both of those things. Someone said, I'd love to see the overlap of conflict avoidant people. Real. Like, I've probably said it a million times on the podcast. I'm so non-confrontational. I don't like conflict. I don't even like when other people are upset or angry. I just fear conflict. And I'm also very avoidant in general when it comes to my feelings. So for that person who would love to see the overlap of conflict avoidant people and people pleasers, yeah, right here. I'll be your case study. And then the last one, someone said, once you pop the cork, the flow is unstoppable. And I thought that was very insightful because, like, I think sometimes that's what is so hard about stopping your people-pleasing behaviors. Because, like, in the workplace, once you start offering up all your free time or helping people with all these things, they see you as the go-to person to pull for help. And once you kind of show that you can, I don't want to say be taken advantage of, but yeah, once you show that, like, you can be taken advantage of, people will do it over and over again. So I think that's kind of what that points to. But also, maybe there's a way you can flip that around and think of it the other way and in a way of stopping. Gotta find that cork. But yeah, it's really one of those things. It's once you start in certain relationships or parts of your life, that's what people are going to perceive you as and know you as, and it's going to be a part of you. And so it's going to be so hard to stop because, like, saying yes one time isn't going to appease them forever, and they're going to never ask you to help again. The more and more you keep helping and saying yes to all this extra stuff, they're going to keep asking all the time. It's going to be harder to expect them to uh, accept a boundary later, which is a whole other problem. People should accept boundaries no matter what, because they're boundaries for a reason. But hey, that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. But yeah, being a people pleaser is so fun. And I think even though it's a trait that a lot of us kind of despise having, I think the best people are plagued with being people pleasers because, there's a reason why we want to be so helpful. Yes, sometimes it's for our own validation seeking, but also I think two things can be true at once. You can want that validation and for people to perceive you well, and also have genuine intentions of wanting to help people and like be a team player. Like that could be a good like a natural trait and such a good characteristic to have. But a lot of times it is the downfall of someone who is a people pleaser. But hey, we're in this together. And when I figure out the playbook of not being a people pleaser anymore, I will so share it. Um, but that's just not something I have today. So yeah, that's the end of my mini-sode. I hope it was helpful, relatable, and fun. And I'm excited to hear what Issa talks about in her mini-sode next week. And then for our special guest for Notes Up November, we have an episode with Tessa DeRico coming at the end of the month, and it's going to be so fun. We're celebrating her release of her next book in the Campus Crush trilogy, Missed Connections. And while you wait for Missed Connections to come out this month, you can read book one, No Coincidences, one of my favorite books of all time. So yes, that's everything. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a really great rest of your day.